Brodes Media.
I was thinking about this as I was driving home today. I went, holy. Didn't say it like that, so I have no clue why it just came out like that. But I said to myself, Brodes, is the offense worse than the bullpen? And the fact that I even asked myself that question is ludicrous. This bullpen is so bad. This bullpen is egregious. This bullpen stinks. It's not good. But the offensive production has been so piss poor that it may actually be worse than the bullpen now. It may be that way. And I was firm and stern on the fact that I was always having my eyes glued towards the bullpen being what you so desperately needed to do more than anything else. And you had to get a lot of different arms. And don't even get me started on, you got Dave Dombrowski speaking earlier, and he's saying we never talked about Andrew Painter. Yet when John Middleton speaks, he's throwing Mick Abel's name and some other starters getting moved to the pen. Mentioning other names, Mr. Andrew Painter, if I remember correctly. And now all of a sudden the president said, oh yeah, we don't talk about that. Something's not right with this John Middleton stuff. I'm starting to wonder. With John Middleton's quotes recently about wanting to have the ballpark filled with talent after this era and this core of Phillies baseball is over, which is one of the worst things you could ever tell this fan base right now. He was acting like because Ruben Amaro made some big swings and they didn't win the championship, that it was disgusting for Ruben Amaro to bring in the type of names that he brought in. Please. What was failing was being able to incorporate a good system while making trades, because you can do both at the same time. But let's not act like bringing in those powerful, lethal, big names to the rotation and Hunter Pence and some names that really helped give you some life. Even though it didn't work, you still did the right things. That's why the Dodgers continue to do it year in and year out. The Yankees continue to do it year in and year out. That's what you do. So, I'm starting to put together a couple of puzzle pieces here, and I'm wondering if I'm getting somewhere. Jason Stark, Ken Rosenthal, Jim Bowden, a lot of the national reporters have been loud and proud talking about Dave Dombrowski being so great at his job that he's going to go after something so big, so huge. Jason Stark used the word huge. Is John Middleton telling and leaking the national media one thing, internally paying David Robertson because they want to keep all of their assets, so there is no empty CBP in a few years when all this somewhat runs out of gas, runs out of steam, and they're still looking for life and people to show up in, CBP and whatnot. So when they don't get it done, they'll tell the fans, read the reports, read Jason Stark. We tried. The asking prices were just too much. They want it to look like they're going after it heavy. They want the narrative to be they are trying to make massive, huge cracks at this. I could be reading this wrong. I'm saying this is on the table. I tell you this all the time. I put everything on the table and then I start to decipher. Well, I'm adding one to the table. I'm not telling you this is what it is, because I also wouldn't be shocked if they go get Mason Miller. I also wouldn't be shocked if they do go get a Duran, although Duran isn't as powerful as maybe a Kwan and making some moves with Cleveland or doing something with Brent Rooker. So, I mean, that's not the flashiest, but it's not a bad move either. I don't want to look back at this, though, and get sucked into, well, if there's one team that could sway Mason Miller away from the A's, it's the Phillies. Well, is that being reported for a reason so John Middleton can play his little game because he's kind of tattletaling on himself potentially with his horrible public thoughts? I won't take credit for this. Full transparency. I was listening to the WIP afternoon show today, and they reflected on some of the hot topics that they missed when they were out for the last week. And one of the things that was brought up was Bryce Harper has now multiple times after the game talk about how great he is and how he is the best. And Jack Fritz mentioned that maybe that's him reminding himself, doesn't matter about the wrist, it doesn't matter what happened before this point, you are electric, you are the man, you are the guy that was on the on the Sports Illustrated cover, reminding himself his greatness. Then Spike and Ike push back, going, dude, he's a Scott Boras client. What he's trying to do is tell John Middleton, I deserve more bread. Look at where I am with the rest of the league. Look at how all these other players who aren't as talented as me, who are not selling as many jerseys as me, who is not Bryce Harper, look what they're getting paid. I deserve a race. I deserve a contract extension. Really maybe working into that extension, right? And I go, huh? That's what actually got me into wondering more about these John Middleton comments. I then had to self-reflect because I didn't think for once about the stupid extension, which is a shame on me. I'm sorry, I'm lacking. I'm normally on my toes. I'm normally a little bit better than this. I believe, not to make excuses because I'm not an excuseman, right? But when you have a newborn who's not even 2 weeks old, my wife during her pregnancy would say, I got pregnancy brain. Sorry, I forgot. I got new dad mind losing. No memory. So I can't even describe that. So that's my excuse for not catching this normally, because I'm better than this. I should have thought of that. That's on the table. And I don't believe I'm just searching for something that isn't really there, because everybody with a brain watches this team and realizes that there is something not right. And when something's not right, there's normally structurally, internally, from top to bottom, from ownership to president to manager to players to the culture, there's something not aligned that's confusing the chemistry. Well, why not the two hypotheticals I just brought up being in play? I even have a third, not to get all weird on you tonight after a win. Why did John Middleton go from, I'll do anything to get my trophy, back to, hey, we need to really look at our prospects and not give up the future? Did Dave Dombrowski convince him to change his tone? Does John Middleton not believe in Dave Dombrowski, but he's just saying this because he knows this is what Dave Dombrowski's going to do? So he's making it look like they're on the same page when he doesn't necessarily even believe what he's saying? I don't know if I buy that as I say it out loud, because he is worried about what the ballpark's going to look like in 5, 6, 7 years as a businessman. So did he just come to his own senses and now he looks back at those statements and that was the old John Middleton, but not the real John Middleton when he sat down and looked at the finances and realized what that era after the 08, 09, 2010 group looked like? He was like, shit, I shouldn't have said that. And he's just taking back his own words? Or did Dave convince him? That's another theory. See, again, this is how you know the team's bad.